Welcome to Extraterrestrial Reality. Well, unfortunately, it's November 28th, and we still don't have that government UFO report. The Pentagon was supposed to be delivering a UFO report to the Congress, a classified version, and also an unclassified version is expected to be provided to the public. However, we're still a month. We're basically a month into this. I mean, it was supposed to be released. It's supposed to be delivered to Congress on the October 31st. There's no evidence right now that that report was ever given to Congress, and we still don't have the public version, the unclassified version, to look at. So basically, we've been on hold for a month. And if you remember, this all started on October 28th. The New York Times had ran an article basically talking to some anonymous Pentagon sources who stated that the report lists about 366 UFO sightings, and half of them basically could be attributed to Chinese spy drones or just clutter like balloons, and the other half they didn't have any answers for. However, they seemed absolutely certain that they were not extraterrestrial in origin. I don't know again how they would know that, but that's what they told the New York Times, and the New York Times ran this basically negative anti UFO story, and the report was supposed to, that was on the 28th of October. The report was supposed to be released on October 31st. It never was. And there's a lot of water under the bridge now. Just funny. Now, hey, for all I know, it might show up on tomorrow, on November 29th, or maybe next week or whatever. But the fact is that they're taking their good old time with it, and it doesn't seem like anyone in the mainstream media really gives a damn, because they really don't. There's no real updates online that you can really find. Only people who are interested in UFOs are talking about this, and this is where we are right now. Basically, what's happened here is that the government has obviously turned tail on this, and at least a faction of the government is basically trying to downplay this whole thing, and we have no understanding of what that reason would be. I mean, who knows? It's all, where's that report? How come we don't have it yet? Why is it? What's taking so long? If it was due on the 31st, why wasn't it handed in on the 31st? I mean, imagine if you're in school or something and you're taking a college course and a report is due on a certain date and you don't have that report handed in, you're probably going to flunk. I mean, maybe if you have a really good excuse, they might give you an extra day, right? But otherwise, you're most likely going to flunk. So I don't get it. I don't understand what's happening, but it's very upsetting. I was really looking forward to looking at that report, the unclassified version, the one with all the good stuff removed. Because I'm sure that the Congress will most certainly, in the classified version, I'm sure there'll be some things in there that would raise some eyebrows. However, the unclassified version probably will be just similar to other reports we've received over the past couple of years from the government, which really don't tell you much. But at the same time, I'm still interested. I'd like to see it, and I don't understand why it's taking so long. And I'm sure a lot of people out there are wondering the same thing. It's almost like there's most certainly a concerted effort began, I would say sometime in October. It really seemed like it kicked in. Okay, we're going to try to take this whole UFO thing in a different direction from here on out. I mean, hey, for the next year's National Defense Authorization Act bill, that still has yet to be approved by Congress. I understand that some people in the House are trying to stave it off until next year now, for reasons unknown, political reasons, I guess. I don't know. I mean, I don't know if there's any plans on removing the language in that bill that would make it. So that would provide whistleblower protection to people within the Pentagon who want to talk about this to Congress, talk about UFOs and extraterrestrials, any kind of things that they might know about. If that would provide them whistleblower protection, so they could talk about it without facing any kind of repercussions. I'm hoping that language still stays in that bill, but as of right now, we don't know what's going on here. It's like there's things going on behind the scenes. I think there have been things going on behind the scenes. It seems basically to put the kibosh on this whole thing. To basically shut it all down. That's what it seems like. It seems like we're going in a different direction. The government's trying to take this in a different direction. For those 5 years that we've had those 5 years since the leak of those 3 videos, right, and the emergence of Lou Elizondo from the shadows. It seems now that there's some sort of effort ongoing to turn, by some people within the government, this is what it seems like to me, to basically take this backward, try to reel it all in and try to make people forget about it. Get the mainstream media is key. Once you get like places like the New York Times running bogus articles like it did on October 28th to downplay UFOs, that could be the beginning of this, the beginning of the turnabout. There are reasons ongoing behind the scenes that I guess the world is not ready for the truth about the extraterrestrial reality, and it's unfortunate, really. But then again, I mean, what did a lot of us thought this from the get-go? I mean, I was always wary of this. I can't imagine the government coming clean on this. I mean, it's something very difficult to imagine, because what are they going to tell? What are they going to say? What are they going to tell people? And it's, I don't know. I mean, because you'd say, okay, yeah, we think it's, you just say we think it's extraterrestrial, or we think it might be extraterrestrial. That's when the wheels start coming off on society, because there are people in this world. Let me tell you something, folks. There are people in this world who just will not be able to deal with this, and it's going to be a sad day for a lot of people once this truth comes out. The world right now has 8 billion people. It's the most we've ever had on the planet. It's over 8 billion people now live on this planet. And a lot of them, I would imagine that, a good chunk of that 8 billion would not be able to deal with this reality. I mean, it's going to be something that's going to keep them up at nights, and there's just too many questions that the governments of the world will not have the answers for, and I think that's what's going on here. But that doesn't mean, just because this looks like it looks dark and dire as far as whether or not we're going to get any sort of disclosure, or whether that National Defense Authorization Act bill, once it is approved, whether that will bear any fruit, with regard to possible whistleblowers stepping forward and standing at a microphone before the Congress, right? Whether or not any of that happens or not, I think the way you need to look at this is like, actually, in a way, a lot of us, we are in on the secret ourselves. Like we're basically, we know about this. A lot of us actually know that there's something here. There's something going on. And in a way, do we really actually need, the government to tell us anything? Is the government even necessary to say anything? I mean, is the government necessary is it necessary for any government of the world to disclose the truth to the world? Obviously, there are people within governments of the world, right? I'm going to stick right now with the United States of America. I believe that there's a lot of questions could be answered, right? Not all of them, but some questions could be answered. There are people within a group within the United States, somewhere in the Pentagon, there's a group, right? I will call it Majestic 12, right? At one time it was called Majestic 12. We don't know what it's called today, but there's a group of people who believe that we're not ready for this. The human race is not ready to handle this kind of information, because it would be too much. And maybe, like I said before, those people might know what they're doing, but they might know what they're doing, and that what they're doing is the right thing. And people like me, who believe that disclosure, pulling the Band-Aid off in one fell swoop, is the right direction, well, maybe we're wrong. But there's another way of looking at this, and that is that, we don't need that. We actually, in a way, we already have enough proof to show that there's something going on, right? We know that there's extraterrestrials here. I mean, I know that for a fact because I encountered one of them back in the late 1970s. Showed up in my bedroom, right? This thing was not human. And then I saw a flying saucer up close and personal during a fishing trip in August of 1994. So I know that they're real. I know that they're here. I don't know what they're up to. And I'm not even sure our government could possibly know exactly what they're up to. I mean, how could they? How could anybody know what they're doing? It could be beyond our comprehension, completely beyond. It's so beyond our comprehension that even if one of these beings tried to explain what they're doing to us, they wouldn't be able to get that through to our thick skulls, because we're not ready to understand what they're up to. Now, of course, I throw out all different kinds of theories on here, on this podcast on a regular basis, that they're basically, one of the theories I've been throwing about recently is that they're here to colonize the planet, and that's what's going on. They are colonizing the planet in a way that, at some point they basically take over the world. As crazy as it might sound, but what else are they doing? I mean, that could possibly be one of the things that one of the reasons they're here, to take over the planet. A lot of things actually could be real at the same time too. They could be here, for one thing, okay, if they're colonizing the planet, it makes sense. I mean, when you really think about it, they're, the cattle mutilations, because these things are insects. Basically, these alien beings are, they evolved from insects. They're intelligent insects, basically, and they live off blood. So that explains the cattle mutilations and the missing blood from animals, okay? And then the hybridization program, the program to basically create a race of beings that look human but are actually some alien, controlled by aliens, and basically of an alien mentality, and scatter them out among us to basically to be on the ready for if they need to take over. There's all these beings all over the world in key locations, and when the time is right, then they go into action of what? Who knows? I guess we'll find out when the time comes, if it ever does come. I mean, there's just a lot of things could be going on here. That the reason that they like our military is because they're checking out to see how advanced we are at this point. I mean, we probably pose no threat to them whatsoever, but they're probably checking us out to see how advanced we are. And that's why a lot of sightings are over military installations, over nuclear bomb silos. So yes, there's all kinds of reasons. And now also recently I talked about how maybe the aerial school thing, the incident in September of 1994 in Zimbabwe at a school, aerial school in Rua, Zimbabwe, where the being showed up in a craft and actually communicated with some kids. Actually, 62 school children saw this object land and alien beings come out, and one of the beings communicated with the kids. The message that they might have been sending is saying, hey, I think it's possible that what they're saying is that, hey, if you don't straighten up, we're gonna take over this planet. Basically, telling us if we ever, if one of us ever uses a nuclear bomb against the other, then they're taking over, because that we might pose a threat to, other worlds. I mean, look at how far advanced we have come in the past just 100 years, say. I mean, look at what we have now compared. If you're going to look back at the year 1922 to 2022, and you see the differences, right? It's unbelievable. I mean, people were just, radio even was just starting to become big at the time. People we weren't anywhere close to having televisions yet. Telephone was very elemental at that time, very primitive. I mean, the way we get information nowadays with the internet and cell phones, and it's unbelievable. The technology, how far it's come. Right, since over 100 years. So when these beings look at us and they say, wow, they are advancing very, very quickly, and if we don't do something about this now, well, pretty soon they're going to be out traveling through the stars and coming after us. So that's what might be going on here too. There's all different kinds of theories, right? But the bottom line is that's the problem. The problem is that's all we really have, our theories, and none of these theories sound inviting or fun, right? They sound like they could be threatening and scary, and that's why I believe why the government right now is turning tail on this whole thing. I believe that I think every now and then I think that maybe the idea I think at some point over the past 5 years it seemed like, okay, there was an agreement for the most part. Okay, I guess we could slowly start disclosing this, and maybe that's what has been going on. But now we've reached a point where they feel uncomfortable about disclosing any more information, because that's what seems like's been going on. I mean, a lot of the reports, there was a couple of months back where the Navy released some UFO reports, and you couldn't even read it. It was so blacked out you couldn't even they wouldn't tell you even what the shape of the objects were. They wouldn't tell you anything. Those reports were useless. And just recently, in recent weeks, John Greenwald with the Black Vault, he had appealed a request for all these Navy UFO videos. He was trying to actually get some of these videos, and it was completely denied. The appeal totally failed. And it just seems like we're not getting anywhere. I mean, what have we gotten since those 3 leaked videos, right? We really haven't gotten much since those 3 leaked videos of 2017 that the New York Times reported about. All right, since that time, we really haven't gotten much. We've had some videos, and there was a video with some triangles over a ship, and then some people say, well, that could have been the bokeh effect, and it wasn't really. Well, we really don't know, right? But we haven't received much. There has not been much. We haven't got any good stuff. Now, of course, Lou Elizondo has made statements that there are actually images and video out there that actually shows the beings in piloting the craft. You know, your traditional gray, big-headed, black-eyed being piloting the craft. They're not going to show that. That would be disclosure. If they were to show something like that, that would be disclosure. But again, do we really need it? Do we really need the government to disclose anything? I mean, maybe it needs to stay secret, but people like us, we could continue talking about it. Hey, if some people think we're crazy for talking about it, well, that's just their problem. But if we keep talking about it seriously and keep trying to push officials to tell the truth, eventually the truth's going to come out no matter what. One way or the other, something's going to happen at some point in the future, right? Something's going to happen where the truth does come out. But I think that we are actually part of this. We know the secret. The secret is that there's an extraterrestrial presence here. It's just a matter of trying to convince the rest of the world of that. And apparently people within governments of the world don't think that's a good idea. They don't think society is ready for that. And they're afraid of the repercussions of disclosure. And so, all we can do is go along with it right now. I don't know what else to say, because it just doesn't seem like we're getting much action. I haven't heard much from Lou Elizondo these days. I mean, there's people out there making documentaries. James Fox keeps pumping them out. I mean, there's other people out there producing documentaries on this, and that's the best I guess we're going to get. And books, people are writing books. More information is going out there. There's people out there who will talk about this on a regular basis, on the latest updates on what they know, new sources that they have. People like Richard Dolan. I mean, yeah, there's something going on, but we just don't have. Well, right now, it just seems like we're in a dark period. There's nothing coming through. The mainstream media seems like it's taken a back seat. I mean, if you were to check the news over the past week and a half, couple weeks, there's not much out there. There's not talking about UFOs right now. It seems like it was a concerted effort. Now, I'm hoping I'm proven wrong, but I just don't see how we're never going to get disclosure from the government. I just don't see it. I just don't see it. I can't see it. To me, it seems like an impossible dream right now, because there's just going to be too many questions. But again, I say this: I don't think it matters. It doesn't matter, because a lot of us know. A lot of us know that there's something here already. A lot of us had these experiences, seen the proof with our own eyes, or we've done enough research to know that there's something going on, and that governments are lying about it, and the mainstream media just. They don't care. They're not interested. Either they're complicit, either by sheer ignorance, or they know. There's people at the top of these media empires are part of it, and they give instructions to their underlings to, hey, don't worry about those extraterrestrial stories. None of that UFO business. Let's make jokes about it. That's about it. That's what it seems like right now.